Welcome to the Subjective Perspective Show. Season 8 is here for more, giving you what you've been waiting for. Season 8.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Subjective Perspective Show, Season 8. Now, episode 157, the first episode of the new season, and we call this the infinite season, like the number 8 Alvarez, looks like the infinity symbol. And we're going to keep this rolling for quite a long time. May end off with a season 9, because 9 has some special symmetry and connotation and denotation and you know, obviously people can talk about Tesla and not Elon Musk but Nikola Tesla and all that fun stuff. And yeah, you know, Google it, check it on out. It's really cool. Now you all see who are watching this on beawoke.com/TSP or on our YouTube page at The Subjective Perspective. Just take out all the vowels and just add the U between SUB, and that's the Subjective Perspective page. Just type us on in, we'll come right on up. Go to beawoke.com and you can link to all the social media, and you're seeing him right now. First off, rad artwork behind him. And this gentleman is somebody I had the luck of meeting in my life. We'll talk about luck later, Chef Albert down the road. And how people had told me how luck played into their life and how it plays into my life so deeply. You know, you were doing some work over at one of the shopping centers where we live out in the Yosemite area, California. And we got to talking. And I was like, hey, you know, I said right away, I think to you, I was thinking in my head, oh man, I want to talk to this fella. I didn't know that you were a chef initially. I didn't know all that stuff. I just knew that you were interesting. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, he's a chef. That's crazy. This is awesome. You know, let's talk. This is Albert J. Hernandez, Chef Albert. Albert, thank you so much for being our first guest of season 8. And I want to make the point quick. This is one of our new designs, our new shirts, Be Woke Entertainment. And in a moment, we're going to call out 2 Twitter winners who were part of the Twitter contest of our retweets. Hey, how you doing, brother?
I'm too blessed to be stressed, brother. Too anointed to be disappointed. How can I help you?
Hey, listen, I'm with that, my man. Hey, you know, how you can help me is by helping this world, by being you, doing what you do.
Amen to that.
Spreading that love, spreading that positivity. Everything that I felt from you, brother. And I hope you're feeling it now. And because we just talked for a couple moments off air, you know, I always get into a couple of the prerequisites of what we do on the show and all that fun stuff. And I'm always like, you just do you. But, you know, this is, you know, what I do here on the show for how I do it. And again, you know, it's great seeing your face right away. I was like, hey, there's my man right there. And now it's, you know, we actually have this time to inspire our audience who checks us out from around the planet. So all of you from around the planet, and a quick shout out, Albert, really quick, to 2 of our Twitter winners. And I have these popping up on our boom. So this is our first Twitter winner, Henry. And that is your, you know, situation, so you can check us out rather than have to say it all on air. And Michelle, that is your Twitter info, so you all win the Twitter contest, and that's Michelle at MATHGRIL and Henry at HAE. That's, I apologize, at HAEMOGLOBINX. You're going to win So you get some cool things over here, some pins of the subjective perspective, just some fun stuff. And Albert, we're gonna get you some stuff, brother. And I have to get a couple of our past guests. If you're checking this out, there's some keychains and got some cool stickers if they pop on out here of the subjective perspective. And they got some more stuff that we're gonna pop in the bag for you all. So just get in touch with us. Right here, you'll see our all of our information at beawoke.com, and we are going to be excited to send you your winnings from the Subjective Perspective show here on Be Awoke Entertainment. That's Be Awoke, enlightening the world. May this 2017. It's a long time ago, it seems, Albert, but you know, really in retrospect, it goes so fast, all of it. And it's why we have to appreciate the moments. So, hey, listen, brother, what I want to do is this. Thank you for allowing me to go into those winners really quickly.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's
we
important
have
to give acknowledgments. Absolutely.
We have a Michelin star chef here.
Oh, I can't say that.
Now, Albert, you do some big stuff. You do some award-winning stuff.
I appreciate that. Yes, I do. I've been very blessed.
And what? Well, I'm going to ask. You know, what is the difference between a Michelin and all that fun stuff? Because I don't know. I don't know all of this. I just know that these are like the top tier in culinary, and it's fun. Super fun. Oh, amazing to get cooked by somebody like yourself.
Thank you.
Maybe once or twice in my life, I've been lucky enough in a restaurant. My wife and I. You know. Now, let me ask you, brother, this is like where I start off, not to digress too deep into the life of Lisa TSP and myself, who always gives you a shout out, brother, man. And she loves cooking. So maybe off air, we could talk down the road about, hey, you know, some tricks of the trade, all that fun stuff.
Absolutely. I would have no problem with that whatsoever.
Cool. And I remember you told me, you said, hey, you ever want to do something nice for the missus? You gave me a card. I was like, hey, what are you doing, man? You're like, hey, I'm a chef. I do that. I'm like, oh, wow, this is crazy, man. Oh, cool. Albert, so it's like a thought sandwich here. And I tell this to all the guests. You know, I get into the most basic questions, you know, so you can get some, you know, simple questions. Then we'll get a little more abstract, you know, have some fun with some ideas. And then, you know, we'll bring it down to the most simple ideas, simple questions I could think of that we've been doing since the first episode, August of 2013. That's how long, Albert, we've been doing this, brother. Gosh.
That's an accomplishment, my man.
Oh, and we love it. We love it. It's not like we seek money from this. It's not like it's, you know, it's fun making a shirt like this.
Yeah, I'm with you all day, man.
Yeah, you know, rep it, brother.
All
rep
day,
it,
brother.
Man, that's
all
right.
Day.
You know, listen. People that know me know I come from the working class streets, paycheck to paycheck families, you know, and that's why, you know, I this is me, you know. I always said I want to be a voice for the working class, not like I'm trying to be anybody but I want to give a platform somehow, and we do it through music because we've always played music, though. You know, this podcast thing came in later, and I started telling you off air, but just for everybody knowing, you know, this is a journey since 2013, you know, starting in 2012 on an old show network, the Bud and Roach Entertainment Network and the Bud and Roach Show, some great guys out in Brooklyn, New York. And we've been doing this, gosh, you know, our own network since 2017, you know, heavy part of the Bud and Roach Show for many years. And yeah, you know, this is an art form, just like culinary. And I want to go there, brother. I want to know about you now. So there's enough about me. I showed you. I had a whole sheet of notes.
I love it. Let's do it.
I want to make sure my volume's nice. You hear me good on your side?
Everything sounds gold.
Beautiful, brother. First question, my man. Where were you born and raised?
Very proud to say I am from Phoenix, Arizona.
Hey, now.
Absolutely. And it's actually been inspiration too off the food that I cook, because I specialize in Latin and Nouvelle fusion cuisine. So what I've done is I take Nouvelle cuisine, which is a new form of French style techniques, as opposed to using so much butters and flours. I'm more of using molecular gastronomy. So we're more around xanthan gums and different kinds of natural thickening agents, as opposed to ones that are just filled with trans fats. And it's no disrespect at all to French cuisine, because that's my heart. And then utilizing the boldness from the Southwest. So why can't we make, hot sauces with xanthan gum instead of having to use flour bases? And it just adds so much more flavor and texture to what we do. And yeah, so Phoenix, Arizona, born and raised.
Hey, now, I got a cousin Louie out there. Louie, if you check this out, I'm giving you a shout out, brother.
What's up, Louie?
Yo, Big Lou, coming out from Long Island, New York. And, I think he's down in Phoenix now. I believe he's in Phoenix. Could be another part of AZ. Hey, listen, what's Phoenix like for our audience who checks us out from around the world? We may not have millions of followers just yet. We're sort of just, doing our thing out there, chilling out, not making this a full-time career, making this something where we look to, enlighten people, and we get some real positive feedback from you all. But for people that check us out, what's it like in Phoenix, brother? You mentioned desert, so, if somebody's checking us out from Japan, what's Phoenix about? What's it like?
Wow. So it's been maybe about 4 years since I've been to Phoenix, but the last I checked, it's just and I say this with all respect to, especially to all of the chefs out there, Chef Bo McMillan, Chef Laurent Trondel, all the amazing chefs out there that, they, without a doubt, it's a foodie mecca that doesn't get enough credit. My buddy Chef Lee Hilson, my buddy Chef Christopher Gross, these guys are doing some amazing stuff. So when you think of like foodie cities, you're like, okay, you got New York, and you got the whole state of California now with the Michelin Guide, but Arizona doesn't get enough credit for being a badass city when it comes to food. And I mean, they are doing things out there that are insane. I mean, the James Beard alone category has the Southwest region. And I think the last 4 years, 3 of those times it came out of Arizona, the winner, not out of Texas, not out of New Mexico, but Arizona. Arizona's doing some big things right now. I'm very proud to be from that food scene.
That's amazing, because like you said, Arizona doesn't get enough credit, and Phoenix, being an epicenter for great food, it's where you start to, take in this understanding of culinary. What inspired you, brother? Like, what got you into culinary? How'd you start?
So I guess the main thing is, I did everything to avoid going into a career of cooking, only because I knew the work that went into it. My grandfather, God rest his soul, Joseph Vasquez, was a pitmaster from Pecos in Odessa, Texas. So I've always been around, really just, always been around food. He used to do some things that I would be like, how embarrassing. But as I got older, I realized, okay, when you're taking the fat that you cook the bacon with and frying this egg, and this egg comes out looking this brownish purple color, but it's just filled with so much flavor. It's like, you know what? My grandpa being frugal was genius in a way. And it's an inspiration every single day to me as well, that I always try to figure out ways, how can I utilize the whole product and not throw anything away at all. And this isn't just breaking down like whole animals and eating everything from head to tail. That's a little bit different. But for example, when I was doing an apprenticeship at the Sanctuary on Camelback Mountain, which is the nicest, it's just the nicest resort.
Where's Camelback?
It's in Scottsdale area.
In Scottsdale area. Okay. There's
Valley.
one in Pennsylvania too. There's probably one in a couple areas, but Pennsylvania has a Camelback Mountain too, somewhere in the Poconos. It was always on TV, and you get little, highlights, little commercials of it growing up.
Exactly. So it's amazing just watching how we would take these asparagus and we would shave them, because you don't want to ever just serve a whole asparagus. You got to shave the bottom of it. We would take the shavings and fry them and now use them as the garnish that we'd put on top of the steak that went with that asparagus. So figuring out ways, like a lot of restaurants, especially in Michelin restaurants, they use lots and lots of garnishes. Now, my rule with garnish is if you're going to use a garnish, it's got to be an applicable garnish. You can't just put a big chunk of rosemary, studded into a potato and say, okay, my food looks beautiful, take it as it is. If you can't eat it, it doesn't go on my plate.
I hear it, brother. Gosh, it could look really good. It may be plastic, may not be able to digest it, but it might look really good. Oh yeah,
that's it. Exactly.
Albert, hey, it's interesting because there's an art form to it. When you talk about culinary, and you mentioned. I apologize. I think I sort of cut you off a bit. So how old were you when you started, getting into culinary? And I apologize if you mentioned it throughout the intro.
So I've kind of just been cooking a little bit my whole life, but when I started getting serious with it, I was 17 and I was working at a restaurant. I applied at the restaurant as a server. Okay. So I was like, you know what? I want to go in here and make a lot of money making tips or whatever. And it was a restaurant called Flicks. It was in Modesto, California.
Hey, okay. I'm sorry, shout out Modesto.
Modesto, I guess you could say what it was, Modesto, a little more Riverbank. It was over there where the Galaxy Theater is at, but I was living in Modesto at the time. So the restaurant was a movie-themed restaurant. And I remember the owner, his name was Tom Arnold, like the actor.
Yeah, that's cool.
Really, really cool guy. And I believe he still has a restaurant out in Modesto called Appetiz, which is,
cool.
think it's a catering company now. But anyways,
check it out.
He had this restaurant, Flicks. The whole restaurant was a movie-based restaurant. The whole concept of the whole thing was insane. So he wanted all the servers to dress in character and just have fun with the concept. Like, for example, like if you said, hey, where's the restroom? He said, well, follow the yellow brick road. And they had a yellow brick road that led all the way to the restroom.
That's great.
It was really cool.
That's cool.
Now, it wasn't working out for me. Tom was a really nice guy. He just says, you've got a great personality and stuff. He said, but I feel like you've got more to offer than just being a server. So he put me in the kitchen. He gave me a recipe and he told me, you know what, I want you to make, this is my grandma's banana nut bread. I want you to make it. Just follow the recipe and it'll come out beautiful. And I'll be darned. I followed the recipe and it came out amazing. But I learned a very valuable lesson that day, that sugar and salt are not the same thing. So when we bit into the bread, it was salt, not sugar. So it's one of those.
That's
one of those things, that you
right.
learn from experience. And now I look at sugar and salt, and I could tell, okay, that's sugar, that's salt, But at the time, I didn't quite understand it. And this passion just started growing for food for me. Now I was still doing a lot of, registering voters and petitioning and all that kind of political stuff. So I had an opportunity when I turned 19 to go to Florida, and while I was up there petitioning, I was living in a hostel in Fort Lauderdale. And I learned that day that sand fleas are very, very real.
Yes, they are.
Living on your own is kind of, I don't want to say scary. It's a new experience. And I was in Florida. I was originally living at the time in Modesto. So we're talking thousands of miles away from home. I lived in Florida for about 9 months.
I got to give a big shout out to our son Noah, who's out there in Fort Lauderdale area.
What's up,
Florida.
Noah?
Big shout out. 21 years old, coming up in about a week or so.
That's cool, man.
Love you, Noah.
And here's what's so insane is there was a chef who worked on one of the ships living at the hostel. He was there for about maybe 2 or 3 months, about the time I was there. And I was learning a lot of stuff from him. And he was a private chef. He was always telling me, hey, you know what? You got to get into private chefing. That's where the money is. You're never going to make money working in a restaurant. And sometimes they say you got to learn things the hard way. I still went, I put my time in, I've worked in restaurants and different hotels up until about the age of, at least I'd say, oh man, 20, 21, maybe 22, getting that experience. They say before you spend your own money, spend somebody else's money. So when the chef left that night, I was just there experimenting and doing a bunch of stuff. And I was like, you know what? You're actually kind of good at this thing. So maybe, we can start something. So, it's that passion that was just always there, where I got my start, and people that may not even know what I end up becoming and what I end up doing with my life, that I am grateful for. And I pray for every day. God knows who they are. He'll make sure they get the graces and the blessings.
So you've been around the country. You got to see a bit of the East Coast in Florida. You ever make it up to New York?
Yeah. So actually I've been to New York probably about 4 times. I went up there in 2015 to shoot my pilot television show, The Untamed Chef, on the Foodie TV network.
Yes, that's right. Well, we got to talk to him about this. Chef Albert, please talk to them about The Untamed Chef. And everybody, this is Albert J. Hernandez, The Untamed Chef, as now we're getting there. Please talk to everybody about that with the Foodie Network.
Okay, so the Foodie TV network, what they wanted to do was have a new concept of going back to old school style cooking shows, and now it's very commercialized, and it's a lot of competitions. It's like, but you know what? You're not supposed to mix Gatorade and grits. I don't give a damn who you are. You just, there's things you just don't do. Okay, so I understand the entertainment aspect of it, and everybody wants to be, the top chef and this and that. But sometimes I think what happens is we get away from where it all really begun. The structure of a real solid foundation of how to learn how to cook, from watching Julia Child, and how she can actually show you this was live. This was not edited. This was not.
I remember that stuff.
Exactly. Jacques Pepin, Chef Mario Batali, who, regardless of how the world feels about the guy, he's always been an inspiration to me. He is a true pioneer of not just cooking on TV, but just the mastery of simplistic technique, which is something I've always valued and respected. And yes, I have an orange pair of clogs that I still wear till today in his honor, because he's the man. Now, with the Foodie TV, they wanted to go more into the concept of how can we teach people how to cook again. And you got to have a big personality, obviously, but at the same time, you also got to make food that people are actually going to like. Now, when I wrote my show up and what we were actually going to do, my number one goal was this: I want to make food that I know people can relate to. Let me teach them how to make a risotto. Let me show them how to properly, cook frog's legs, because a lot of people, they don't get this.
I've had that before. I've had frog's legs before.
And I'll tell you, so I shot a pilot. I was in Massapequa Park, Long Island.
Hey, Massapequa Park. Yeah, we know that real well. Lisa TSP over here. She had a job in Massapequa Park at Busy Bee Mall. Makes it to episode 157. Busy Bee Mall.
Now, here's what's so cool. So I'm in Massapequa Park. I was trying to make sense of this whole trip and save money where I could save money. I learned that day that there is a excessive amount of cockroaches at the motels. So I just, my anxiety was like, absolutely not. Get me to a Best Western or something. I stayed at the Best Western over there near Amity, New York.
Yep, Amityville, right over there.
Yeah, where the scary house is from, man.
Yeah, so, right over by Ocean Avenue. Right over by Ocean Avenue. That's right. Right off of Sunrise Highway. I know it. Man. We used to go there when we were kids. And we used to go to where the house was. And it was just it was like in a nice area at the time. And I think it's still a rather nice area.
So we shoot this pilot. And the producers are very impressed because they were like, well, how much, have you ever done, TV before? I was like, no, I've never really done it. I mean, I've been on the news a few times, whatever. No, you're just a natural at this. We just shot this whole show. We've only had to stop 5 times. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We just went with the flow. And that's my whole concept, is just this raw, untamed. If you make mistakes, it just shows everyone that this is not scripted. This is natural. This is the way things happen. When you're cooking something, Whether you have your mise en place, everything in its place in French, it doesn't matter because, sometimes, things fall. It is what it is. But we don't want to make it super scripted to where it's like, this isn't a real show.
That's right.
So we shot the pilot. By the time I got back to California, which was 2 days later, I literally went and shot and had some good New York pizza, which is a whole nother passion of mine.
Oh, cool. We're talking.
And then we okay. So then I head back home. By the time I get back home, they say, hey, you know what? The network liked you. PBS liked you. Can you come back out and shoot the rest of the season? And it wasn't that easy. I mean, honestly, brother, as you know, especially in real, blue collar production, it costs money, man.
That's
And
right.
I had to come up with
That's
like
right.
another, I think almost like 10 grand to go and calling different companies and getting sponsors. I mean, that was the hardest thing to do. But I also told myself, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this 100%.
That's right.
By God's grace, we Central Valley, I've got some of the biggest farm growers and everything in the world. So I had everyone from, National Raisin Company to Wawona Fruit, you name it. I mean, I had it on this NASCAR style chef jacket, and you could actually see that when we shot the show that I'm wearing it, but we wanted to just put together a really incredible show. So it took about a year almost before I could go back, shoot the rest of the season. And they were very, very happy. It became the #1 show on the network. I believe it got picked up by Roku, Amazon TV, Amazon Fire Stick, all this stuff. So it was
right. Congratulations, brother.
It was really amazing, and I also got past that understanding. Everybody thinks, okay, once you're on TV, you're living the high life and everything. And to some degree, there is some relevance there. But at the same time, it's not like that for everybody, regardless of how great your show is or whatever. So then when I told myself this, look, we'll keep making shows, we'll keep producing content, but I am not going to get away from what makes me who I am, a chef. And the food always has to be a 10. It can't be anything below that. Everything I do has to be above and beyond. Otherwise, I lose the validity, because this isn't like, Chopped or Cutthroat Kitchen. This is real cooking. And if I want to give a real cooking show, I have to be a real chef.
And Albert, let's go into a commercial break for a moment, and we'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, with Chef Albert.
We hope you are all enjoying the show. Be sure to check us out on beawoke.com for all of our social media info. Till then, stay inspired.
Hey, everybody, welcome on back to episode 157 of the Subjective Perspective Show. And again, you can catch us on beawoke.com. That's BEAWOKE.com. Or you can go to Spotify and check us out through the audio version. If so, you may not have you may have the commercials in those as well, though if not, you'll definitely have them in the beawoke.com. So most of all, we hope that this inspires you. That's why we do what we do, Albert. And I say this on many of our episodes. The reason that we got into this back in 2012 or so is we had an opportunity. So the old show, Bud and Road Show, had given me a monologue on it, and I would talk for a little bit. If like the end of the show, then we ended up having our own show, and the reason I got into that, and then our own network, this is all because we found that people become connected to the people that we interview, and it's incredible. So when you have these conversations, people are like, man, okay, so Chef Albert, he comes from Phoenix, rock and rolls, through, the Modesto area. Big shout out to the Golden Rose Tattoo up there who did my ink. And that's over on H Street. Mikey Archulette up there, and he's going to be finishing. He just did the lines in this. Actually, my old buddy Nicky Arena out in New York did the lining, and then Mikey actually put a couple touches on it. And then I'm going to have that all set. And That stands for Segue il tuo core, stands for follow your heart. And I'm a big proponent of that, but using logic along the way, not just, going blindly into things, but, following that sense, so some may call it God, some may call it intuition, some may call it whatever, a divine force, whatever one may refer to it, following that energy, that instinct. And things tend to open up in ways that you never saw coming, but it seems as though when we're resistant to it, we find ourselves in difficulties. So it's good to go along, like you mentioned, going with the flow. And that's what you wanted for your television show and on the Foodie TV network. And I just think it's so cool. I was mentioning, we've watched your videos, and I was like, man, this is crazy. I can't believe I met Chef Albert. This is like super crazy. So it's an honor to have you on, a joy to have you on.
Thank you.
So let me ask you, so, thinking about, one of the most difficult things, in your line of work, what do you find, is probably one of the more difficult things nowadays, in the restaurant industry, or what you do as a chef?
Honestly, brother, I think the most difficult thing is telling people no, because sometimes it's, think about it. There's only 4 Saturdays a month. So then we started doing Fridays and Saturdays. I don't like to do back-to-back dinners, but I also understand the supply and the demand, especially since, this whole COVID craziness. It's been nonstop. We are busy.
Wow.
It's been a year now since I got back from, I was in Staten Island. I was over there.
Oh, wow.
I was in Staten Island for 3 months. I went to pizza school. I wanted to add a pizza onto my menu. So I said,
awesome.
If I'm going to add for a bread course, so you go to a restaurant, okay? And what's the first thing that happens? You sit down and they bring you out old tasting bread with oil and vinegar. I don't know. And for me, I was like, you know what? We have to break, I'm going to use your word here, the perspective of what people think they're supposed to get when they arrive at a restaurant. So when we were brainstorming this, me and my family, my son Adam, he's my sous chef. So he is being classically trained.
Big shout out to
Adam. Adam is my number 2. He's my right-hand guy. And a shout out also to my amazing wife, Antonia, and my son, Joseph Michael, who are my inspiration every day.
God bless you, Antonia.
Oh, we are so blessed.
God bless you all. That is beautiful.
As a family, we decided,
you're a proud father, a proud husband, and I love seeing it.
I love it.
I love seeing it, brother.
I love it. And so I was like, we're going to add an insane bread course. Well, what's going to make it insane? So I was like, well, what? Why not? Let's
garlic knot.
Yeah, I've seen it all. But I said, let's do a real New York slice of pizza, but let's do it with a California twist. So what I've done is we do an actual a real New York style crust, very crispy, very thin, and you fold it in half, and then the flavors come together.
Yes.
The cheese on top of that is a homemade mozzarella that I actually do. I let it rest for 2 weeks in a herb oil. We do a 50-year balsamic that comes from Modena, Italy, a pistachio pesto, because we want to show love to California. California has the best pistachios in the world. A special shout out to American pistachio growers as well.
Big shout out here.
Oh yeah, I love it. And we do a cold smoke fire blister tomatoes. We actually take tomatoes, we cure them with salt, sugar, and pepper. We blow torch them, and then we smoke them with a cold smoke, which is a mixture of 4 different woods. Yeah. So that is the actual. That's what you kind of see in the back. My brother, the way he did that is a pizza with the name
I totally
Untamed.
see. That is insane.
So
man, I'm looking at it right now behind you. So
it's cool.
My gosh. So now, that just blew my mind. Yeah, that is rad.
And everybody
Wow.
thinks exactly, brother. So I wanted to do something that just when everyone takes that first bite, they're like, we are in for the best meal of our life. And this is where we get confused sometimes with what's happening with Michelin, because in order to be a Michelin accredited chef, you got to have a restaurant, and you have to get, they call them these Michelin chameleons, and they come in and they rate your restaurant without you knowing who they are, and you get this
Wow.
random letter and phone call that says, hey, you now have a Michelin star. Now that will never happen for me, but when my clients who eat at the French Laundry, and who eat at Cezanne, and who eat at Atelier Crane, and who eat at all these restaurants are telling me your food is better than that, and it should have a Michelin star.
Yeah.
It inspired me to have to not make up a title, but to let everybody know we compete with the best. We are the best at what we do. So I always say, Michelin does not give stars to private chefs, but that does not stop me from giving you an experience better than any Michelin restaurant you've ever been to in your life. And you have to back those words up, brother. And it is a lot of hard work.
Oh gosh. And it's time consuming. I've just, it's everybody, who understands knows that, in the restaurant industry, you could barely break even, and it's just you're working around the clock. And what's it like? Just curious, so your work as a private chef, gives you the opportunity to, go to different places. Also we're going to talk about graffiti in a bit. I want to get into that too. Ask about your brother. So what you took from, the pizza, school, first that before going to the second question, but, because I'm just generating ideas here. The pizza out there. My question to you is this: what did you think about the pizza out there when you, the first time you ever had a real slice of New York pizza? What did it feel like? Like, would you, because I know it's something that we got some of those out calories. Like you could probably do it. What'd you think about it?
It's funny you mentioned that. We'll bring that up at the end of the show, because I actually have a soft launch with my new mobile pizzeria that's going to be coming next week. So we'll talk about that.
Oh, I'm excited.
We've got a lot of really
this is crazy,
amazing stuff going on.
Yeah.
The crust of New York pizza, there's nothing like it. Even if it didn't have any of the pomodoro sauce, any of the toppings, any of that, there's nothing like the crust. Now, here's where it gets interesting. So the first time I go out to New York, I had New York pizza, and I was like, okay, this is amazing. Now, when I went to pizza school, and the pizza school I went to, shout out to my amazing buddies out there, Chef Scott and Chef Andrew, Goodfellas Pizza School in New York, the best pizza school in the world.
Yeah, Staten Island, the home of Wu-Tang Clan,
four-time world champion, the original creator of the vodka cream pizza too.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. That's a great pizza right there. Now, that's a little different than the white slice then.
The white slice is what we would call a Bianca, and that's actually a what's the cheese that we put
with the ricotta cheese?
Ricotta cheese.
Yeah, because I grew up loving that. We would get slices of the white slices, the Sicilian slices. And I worked at a pizza place growing up as a kid. And I was a pizza delivery boy from the local pizza place, Old Pizza Zone out in Blue Point, New York.
There you go,
brother. Now you know. And I didn't make the food. I was not good at that. I drove the prepared food out. They would have really good like a white clam sauce, like a calamari sauce, a calamatas, as they would say, or something like that, or something like that. Because my family, they got a little more of the old school way they talk, and those still for a little more of the way they heard it, and then I hear a calamari, but then it'll be like a linguine sauce, I should say. It'll be like a clam and linguine sauce on the chicken Alfredo, and the clams, the mussels marinara, my pop would like to get, and we would just get pies. So we would just get a lot of slices. There was 4 kids, so everyone would just get a slice. All right, go. It's the 1980s. So 1980s, it's like everybody just everyone go for your own. Just don't bother daddy's going to work. He's getting up 6 a.m. and he's not going to be home till 6 p.m. So once that happens, then and so we started working early on, 14, 13, 14. But I worked with my pop earlier than that. I would go to different jobs, but then I worked at like burger places and stuff like that, like 14. And now I don't even remember applying for I'm sure I did. No, but at one of the places I didn't. I didn't have to. It was like at long story. Won't even get into it right now. But I remember it was a little place and didn't ask me for any of the paperwork. And the kid, one of the kids I already knew, Nick, already was in there. So I got to get in there too. A lot of Nicks over there. I got to tell you. So Albert, you know what I love about it, brother? And what I love about you, man? You're somebody who has lived your life and it comes through in the work you do.
Thank you.
And that's coming from somebody who understands, how difficult it could be, especially when there's so many people doing the work that you do. You stand out. And it's like I said, it's an honor having you on.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on.
Thank you, brother. Who inspired you? Or who inspires you now in the world of culinary? Or is there anybody early on that inspired you? And you mentioned a couple names already. And so I do know who inspired you, who probably they still inspire you. But is there anybody now that's cutting edge that we may not have heard of? Because I'm novice, really, to culinary, but I love to eat it.
I guess a lot of the inspiration of what we're doing now, I try to base it, and I have to say this, that way we could keep writing off going to Michelin restaurants as a tax write-off, because it gets kind of expensive, $300 or $400 per person to eat, at these restaurants.
Wow.
But there's inspiration and there's disinspiration. And sometimes when you see, for example, if I told you, hey, I figured out a way to take an Alaskan king prawn, by adding flavors to it and cooking it different, I could give it the same flavor and texture as a lobster that comes from Maine. And you wouldn't believe me. But when you taste it, you'd be like, I couldn't tell the difference. Wow. That inspiration is something every single day. Honestly, brother, the number one thing that I do every day, and I truly believe when you say who inspires you the most, it's my faith. It's praying the most holy rosary every single day. And sometimes when I'm driving, I'll pull over on the side of the road and my sons don't even ask me, Dad, what are you doing? They're all, he just got a new idea and he's writing it down. So he can test it out when he gets home.
That's right.
But and it's insane because a lot of these chefs, they spend, 10, 20, 30 years in a restaurant before they're finally like, okay, I'm in my late 40s and I'm about to start my business for the first time. Well, I started my business in 2012 and it's been going now strong for 10 years.
God bless you.
A little over,
I love hearing it.
A little over 10 years because I started it on my birthday in 2012, February 20th. So, we're clearly past that now. And the business has been a huge inspiration. I get asked probably every other dinner, would you be interested in partnering for a brick and mortar? And that's not the thing. Because I think what's so wonderful, brother, is when you show up to somebody's house or their Airbnb or their VRBO, and they're like, you've never cooked here, yet you just knocked this dinner out of the park. How did you do it? And when me and my son, Adam, when we show up and we've got our truck literally with a traveling restaurant on the back, I mean, everything from, temperature controlled sous vide water ovens to perfectly, the name is called the Control Freak, but it's an induction cooker made by Polyscience, Breville Polyscience. And it lets you cook everything within 0.5 degrees of what you're doing. So now this cooker can become a chocolate melter to perfectly temper and melt chocolate down. When I bought a $300 chocolate melter.
And it's called the Control Freak?
It's called the Control Freak.
So now I got to give a shout out to Alexander Polinsky, who's a character on that movie that was called, it's just Teen Titans Go. His character is a Control Freak. So big shout out. He also was the officiator of Lisa and myself at our wedding. He's an incredible fella, but just had to give him a little shout out. Apologize, brother.
Hey,
Did
no,
not mean to
absolutely
take that.
not. No, that's totally cool. That is really cool.
That is
My
that is-
sons love the show Teen Titans, so it's
Oh, really? Okay, cool. So if they ever see the movie, he was in the movie
Yeah.
Titans Go. So that was out like a couple years back now.
they love that movie.
Oh, really? Okay, so he was control freak in that movie. So it's really cool. He was in a couple movies. Our Generation, Pumpkinhead. So one of like the old classics. He was in Pumpkinhead 2. I'm not sure if it was one, definitely 2. He was one of like the main characters.
That's
but
totally
he was
cool.
also in a television show called Charles in Charge.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there's yeah. So there's a
Scott
lot.
Baio. Okay.
Yeah, Scotty Baio, all of them. There's a whole bunch of them. Yeah, so there's a lot of people that we have on our show, and every time I hear something, I always throw a little shout out there.
Totally cool.
Chef Albert, thank you, brother. Thank you for understanding that. I didn't mean to digress. Take us away.
No, absolutely not.
Sorry
absolutely
about
not.
that. But now let me ask you. So, in terms of just the foods that you cook, is there a favorite?
Wow, I always get asked that question, brother. I think if I had to really put a dish out there that I know, I've actually tried to put this dish on the show, Beat Bobby Flay, and I think what happened is they saw the dish and said, "There's no way we're letting this guy go on because the goal is to keep Bobby Flay winning." So, but that would be
you're incredible. I
appreciate that.
If you were on, you would win the whole thing.
I feel confident that I'd have a good chance, and if God wills it, let His will be done.
Yes, and that's how I roll with it, and really, when I say that you're incredible, that I say it because you're incredible.
Thank you.
And you don't need the accolades of any show to be like, hey, listen, you're awesome. You already are awesome.
You know what, brother? By God's grace, I got 46 reminders of how good my food is. I don't need, the accolades of television and all that, but I've won my fair share of contests to build my reputation up.
Yeah.
And I've always had that mentality, I don't know if you could see it. It's probably up in the corner.
I
here.
love that artwork.
Okay, you see the one on the very top. I'm trying to see if I can grab it up there. Okay.
Yes.
So that's a shark with blood in the water because that's how I am when I cook.
Hey.
Blood in the water.
Yeah.
Once I see it, we're gonna go for the jugular.
100%. You go for it.
I'm a nice guy, but when we're in competition, you know what? I'm going to destroy you, man.
Hey, I understand. Chef Albert, my man. Listen, anybody involved in sport, and this is sport as much as art, because the sport of it is understanding the science of it, and then having to show within the food from several judges or whoever judges it, that yours stands out. So no, you are so right. And just want to ask you that artwork before I digress again, because sometimes I take it a couple ways. That's why I enjoy doing this. And I knew that you'd understand me. That's why I try to get people on that. I'm like, all right, you know what? This is a conversation that's, free flowing, and we go off in different directions. But that artwork is incredible. The pizza piece.
Thank you. That was all done by my brother, Anthony Vasquez. He is a graffiti artist. Just a really good artist. Sometimes you need other people like this, like the whole concept of this amazing program is to help other people realize, their own talents by hearing the other stories, and I told him, you can do graffiti good, but why not just doing real art? And it's all on the back of my wall. He is
it's incredible.
He's an incredible artist. And I tell him, I like everything to do with food. My whole order of my life is faith, family, food, in that order. Everything else in my life is questionable, and you can challenge me on everything. And those three things in that order.
That's it. I understand it.
Exactly. And so I like food is art to me. And I think sometimes what happens, and I know we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, is, if you make me a plate and it looks like art, but it tastes like art, nobody's going to want to eat that. I needed to look pretty, but I needed to taste even better than it looks. And that style of dining, I learned when I was in 2017. A good friend of mine at the time, Dominique Krent, she's the first and only 3 Michelin
shout out.
star female chef in the whole United States of America.
Triple shout out.
She is amazing. And I saw her concept of the way she does this thing called poetica culinaria. So pretty much she writes the poem, and the poem you're reading is the menu you're eating. It's insane, man. She is on another level, and I respect her so much. And so I did this apprenticeship at her restaurant. My wife and I went and had dinner. She's one of the most incredible people I've ever met in my life. And when I came home that day, I was like, it's all different now. It has to change from here. This is no longer food that gets served on plates. Why can't I serve an appetizer or a little bite crudité or something, a little one bite, dish on an alabaster coaster? Why not? So why not just bring all my own stuff when we do this? And honestly, brother, since 2017, I refined my style completely. I was already an award-winning chef, but I was starting to get kind of stagnant. Like, okay, this is not chicken Parmesan food now. Now we have to elevate the food to a level where when people eat what you're eating, they're comparing it to Joël Robuchon or Thomas Keller at the French Laundry. So what are we going to do now that's going to put us in the rankings of competing with the best in the world? And yeah.
So now let me ask you, brother. So you're knocking it out of the ballpark. I'm just letting you know you're getting there. You're already there.
Thank you.
You're already there. It's all going to manifest around you as time goes on. You know how this rolls. There's things I'm learning from you here, brother. How, and I always ask this. I always like to get into the inner workings of guests. What drives you. I know it's family. I know it's faith. And what is it that what was it like growing up in Phoenix? Was Phoenix a place that gave you great inspiration, or were there obstacles? Because I know a lot of people who have accomplished incredible things. Some later in life they have accomplished. Some overcame a lot of obstacles too, as myself. Just to you have the perspective I have. What was it like in Phoenix growing on up? Because that's where you started. Before you got on out to Modesto. Was Phoenix a place that was because it's a great place of food, but I know Phoenix has some there's some stuff that goes on down in Phoenix. There's some tough things that go on down there. What was it like out there for you in Phoenix?
Brother, I grew up, with I've got 6 brothers and a sister. So, and my mom, she was a single mom. I still had a relationship with my father, not the relationship I wish I had, but the more I look at it, I'm like, you know what? I'm the man I am because of him, for being there when he was there and for the absence when he wasn't. But my family had a Hernandez construction. So since I was old enough to even remember, I think I was in 5th grade, I was working, underground pipeline, with a bunch of, very inspirational guys, from Mexico, and learning things from them. Like, what the hell? I'm putting together, a sewer line now.
Me too. I worked with people from all over.
Exactly.
Brother. And I was doing work where I did carpets, and we would do carpets in apartment buildings, people's homes. I would work with so many different people on jobs, man. So I love it, man. I love it, brother. So, okay. Didn't mean to digress again.
Absolutely not. So I was learning at a young age how to work hard. and I guess I've always had little glimpses of, they say the Lord always puts in your path. He reminds you of your talent sometimes when you're neglecting what you're supposed to be doing and what you think you want to do. And, I'd cook sometimes, not really cook, but even buying like a frozen lasagna, you want it to look nice when you put it on a plate. And little things like that, I was kind of starting to say, you know what? This is kind of fun. But I never really delved into it as much as I wanted to. I was in a lot of schools at a young age. I don't know. Sometimes, when you, especially with chefs, we spend a lot of time by ourselves. Even now, I have the most amazing wife. I have beautiful sons. I love my life, but I still need my time when I need to just sit there and I need to just brainstorm my life and what needs to happen next. In order to be at any level of success in your life, you have to be trying to think 10 steps ahead of the guy. I mean, if you were to Google, private chef in California, you'd get 100 things that pop up. So until someone actually knows what I do, or really says, hey, this guy knows what he's really talking about, then it's different. You don't know what you're hiring. And I tell people all the time, in life, you get as much as you put into it. And in value, it's the same thing. You buy something. If you buy something cheap, it's going to break or it's going to be defective in some way because that's why it's cheap. Yeah. So when you get, a dinner cooked by the Untamed chef, it's probably not something you get to do every week, but when you do it, you're never going to forget it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it's the same thing.
I can't wait, man. It's definitely going to happen, brother. Oh, and we're going to do a whole video with it. So, and what we're going to do also is, in a couple minutes, we'll take another commercial break, just to put that out there, probably not 10 minutes or so. Trying to break up everything season 8 and throw a couple extra pieces in there. So it'll be just like we threw it on with the last commercial for everybody. But, brother, it's incredible, man. When I think about, okay, first, my life growing on up, just, somebody who was just from, a paycheck to paycheck working class family, as I mentioned, and, grew up with kids all in my neighborhood. A lot of them are wild, and a lot of people who know the kids in my neighborhood. And I say that still to this day, because there's some great, they're all great. They're all great, but some wild people that I grew up with. And I was young kids and 12, 13. You see the movie like Lord of the Flies, all these little kids just buzzing around. It's what it was like in my neighborhood. It's all
great
kids.
book.
Great book. Good movie too. I tried out for the movie that came out in the 90s. I tried out for that movie to be Piggy.
Awesome.
I was even more plump. I was even more little plump as a kid. And so I tried out for that when I was, in 5th grade. And, just a fun thing that my mom was like, a big shout out to my mom. She was like, hey, listen, you want to try out for this? And there was another kid that was going to try out for it or so. I was like, yeah, okay. Went to a local theater, and I was like, hey, just didn't work on out. And I was a young buck. Oh gosh. And all of this, aspect of being in front of a camera, something that, came much later in my life. Albert, my man, it's just something that is organic. Also, I love communication, and that's why, I won't get too much into myself, but just, to give a little background.
Absolutely.
It's fun. Like I started wanting, for a bit to teach history. So in my early 20s, right? I'm going to college. I'm dropping out of college. I'm going to college. I don't have the focus, perpetually don't have the money, and just didn't have the academic focus, the vision at all. And I just remember I was about 19 and, I was very lucky, my dad worked real hard, for our family. So I saw that, aspect of, what it was, and listen, I can never measure up to do what he did. But I was carrying this rug. He's been carrying it for like 30 years up this, or 20 years at that point, 25 years up these steps, and somewhere, I don't even know where it was, Long Island. And I just dropped out of college and just hanging out with all the kids in the neighborhood. All the kids know who all those kids are. You all know who you are. I ain't gonna go through y'all. And my pops looked back as I'm sweating. He says, "What's heavier?" I'm like struggling, hating life, carrying this big, carpet on my shoulder. It's like middle of summer, humid as all heck. And he said, what's heavier, this carpet or your books? And I was like, and right there it dinged in me. I was like, hey, listen, if I could do this book thing, I don't have to work as hard as my pops has worked for 25 years. And to this day, gosh, almost 50 years now working. Till this day, Albert, doing carpets, brother. Gosh, he's young at 69.
That's not easy work.
Young at 69, man. So yeah, it's crazy, brother. So that's why, I'm just, I respect your work ethic.
Thank you
so much. It's something that we need to see more of. And I hope that anybody watching this sees that it takes time. It takes resilience. It takes hunger. And I was saying for myself, so then I get that vision a little bit, go to school, and that all just starts to manifest one at a time. Want to be a history teacher, became a history teacher in the New York area, and then came out to California and been, doing a lot of work in different institutions out in Cali, and goodness gracious, and everybody, can see on the YouTube page all those guest lectures that I've done. Albert, it's why, when I got to talk to you a couple weeks back, about a month and change or so ago now, but we still got to connect on, text here and there. So it was cool. I was like, oh man, this individual's on the same wavelength I am. I was like, oh, I like what he's saying. I was like, I want to hear more of this. So I want to ask you, brother, man, if I could, I always have a little set of notes that sort of give me a little guidance and a couple ideas, that, in terms of the Michelin chef aspect, that's what I wanted to make sure I mentioned. What makes a Michelin? Is it a Michelin chef, or is the restaurant gets Michelin ratings?
It's a restaurant, but the chef gets recognition because he's the chef of a restaurant that received that accolade.
So now, what does a restaurant do to get a Michelin rating?
You know what? The Michelin Guide has different ways that they rate these restaurants, but the first star is for just, really, really great food. The second star is really great food that's worth a detour. And the third star is great food that's worth a special journey. So you go to a 1-star restaurant, you expect that you're going to have a great meal. You go to a 2-star restaurant, you're going to have a great meal, but there's going to be more to that great meal. Great ambiance, probably a really great location. It's worth that detour to go a little bit more. And the third star, they call it, the Jedis of the restaurant world. And those are the restaurants these are guys that are probably working 16, 17 hours a day. And I'm going to be honest here. They're working 16, 17 hours a day. Their marriage is probably, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Their kids probably don't like them very much. And I'm not trying to judge all Michelin chefs this way, but it takes a special woman to be with a chef, period. But these guys right here,
it's their life.
It's their life, brother.
It's all it is.
And a great chef that I've always looked up to is Chef Marco Pierre White, who's also credited as the chef who made Gordon Ramsay cry. Ramsay was his sous chef, okay?
Wow.
And you know how incredible Chef Ramsay is.
Yeah, totally.
And he said, he's the first chef ever who tried to give his stars back. He says, you've ruined my life. Take it. I don't want it. Now, what I wanted to do is this: how can I still have a life, a great relationship with my wife and my family, still be able to give God Sunday, not just a couple hours, all of Sunday belongs to God. I get 6 days, he gets that one day. This is the balance that I have to have in my life in order to do this. So 6 days a week, yes, I work nonstop. I probably sleep about 4 hours a day. And I'm always doing something. I've got my radio segment on AgNet West Radio. We've got 2.7 million listeners, breaking into Arizona market now and Colorado market. We do a 3-minute recipe on the California Kitchen on AgNet West Radio, which is out of this world. And
Oh yeah,
it's amazing,
I
brother.
saw that. Incredible. I listened.
And the you know what? Just making great food. It's a passion for me. It's constant drive. How can I make this better? What can I do to enhance the experience? I'm a sucker for little dishes and forks and knives and stuff, man, because that's it to me. I want to give you an experience that you can't get anywhere else. And there are a lot of restaurants. We use this word in hip hop. This is old school, perpetrating a fraud, pretending to be something that they're not, and assuming people aren't smart enough to realize what they're doing. And I won't use words, but if they watch this one day or know who I am, they'll find this, that it's not right. Be honest with people every day. I always tell everyone before we go to commercial that I cook a meal for my clients or my friends or my family the same way I would cook for our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ himself. And it's going to be perfect.
God bless you, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, going to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be back with Chef Albert, episode 157 of the Subjective Perspective Show here on Be Awoke Entertainment. Man, Chef Albert, you are the man.
We hope you are all enjoying the show. Be sure to check us out on beawoke.com for all of our social media info. Till then, stay inspired.
Right. So, coming on back from a commercial break, this is episode 157 of the Subjective Perspective Show. Hey, Chef Albert, I want to ask you, my man, in terms of, and I ask everybody this, and I think we already alluded to it, and I always ask everybody, the Subjective Perspective Show is all about the emotion, the feeling that somebody has within, which objectivity is very important as well, though. It was more about the individual who we were having on the show and what they were feeling, what they were sensing. So hence the Subjective Perspective Show. And this is one of our little shirts there, just to throw it on out there. And that's a BAE. So a little face.
That's dope.
Little collar. And,
just
made that little thing up. Just had a fun time with that. But, are you a religious person? Obviously, I know you are. And how does that, tie into the work you do? And you've already talked about that a bit, but I just wanted to focus, that question, to you, because I do get into that particular question.
You know what? Sometimes, and it is the focal point of my being is my faith. The breath we're using to have this discussion is a gift from God, and it's one that not everybody is being granted.
Yep.
And for me, it's constant. We live in a society now that they're going to judge everything that you do. But our Lord says, before they judge you, they judge me first. So when I created the whole concept with the Untamed Chef, which the whole slogan is to make history or be history, live every day untamed for God. If you do that, brother, you're living life to the fullest.
Beautiful.
You're living life smart. You're living life in a state of grace. The greatest saints, one of the greatest saints of our time, and a role model of mine was Saint Mother Teresa of Calcutta. And she said, I cannot feed the world, but I can make sure the one person I feed gets all of me. And I feel like that is something that it's my inspiration daily. It's my inspiration every moment of my life. Am I doing enough to please God? And I know things are not always going to be perfect, but at the same time, when it comes to this talent, I realize these awards, this platform, everything, it's a grace. And as quick as God giveth, he could take it away. So I don't ever want to be that prodigal son who squandered what his father gave him. So for me, it's constant, brother. It's a constant every day to make that choice to be a faithful, loving husband, to be a good dad, to want to make this food from scratch the way it's supposed to be made, not cutting corners, not buying pre-made things. I just can't do that. And it's been a blessing because people taste it. They're like, why have I never tasted this before? Where have you been all our life? You know? And this is the moment now that God has decided to put us together, you know, and even the gear I wear, brother, I mean, everything. I mean, I'm not ashamed.
Oh, let me see that.
Faith.
Let's see that. Yeah, I love that.
So what that is right here is the gridiron of St. Lawrence. He's the first saint ever who was barbecued to death. And he was so filled with grace that he told the executioners, I'm all done on this side. You could turn me over. And that to me, it's inspiration. You know, Our Lady of Good Success of the Purification. I've never been to Ecuador, but it's been the logo of my business for 10 years. I am more busier than I even know what to do right now with my time. And I wouldn't change anything at all. Now I'm starting to bring my 12-year-old son, Joseph Michael, into the business now. And he's being trained by my sous chef, my son, Adam. So the Untamed
big
chef
shout out to this family.
It's a Hernandez concept, you know, and my wife is the glue that keeps us all together.
Are you Ecuadorian?
I am 100%, brother, a brown American. That's it.
Hey, now.
You know, I've never even been to Mexico, so I guess I can't even say I'm a Mexican, you know? I mean, so it's it's one of those things,
Albert,
you know, and I love it.
I just want to say, absolutely beautiful, brilliant. And that's why people have to recognize whatever it is they want to achieve. You just have to put your heart into it, put your soul, one would say, whether it's metaphoric, whether it's literal, right? Put your oomph, put it all into it. And you'll find, like you said, Albert, like Chef Albert makes the point. If what you put in, you're going to get out. So you got to put a lot on in, and you can't be cutting the corners, and you implement that into your food. You implement that into your culinary art.
I appreciate it, brother.
Oh, Chef Albert, I love it, brother. Now, let me just blow your mind for a second. Not blow your mind, because I really have nothing much mind blowing about what I'm about to tell you. but I had gone to college in 1996 called a place called, you may know it, maybe because it's Culinary, Johnson and Wales.
Johnson and Wales, one of the best culinary schools in the country.
Now, I was going for business admin. I was not going for the food aspect.
In Rhode Island?
Rhode Island and Providence. Uh-huh. Yeah, right in Providence, brother. So that was in 96. So, just did a little time there. And you ever been to Providence?
I've never been. I've been invited to go to some food shows. It's always sometimes the timing is.
Gotta go. Listen, you'll see. Providence, they don't play around in Providence. You get to that city and you'll see what I'm talking about. You walk and you see, okay, listen, very, very they keep it real out there with what they're doing, and you just you sense it. Now I sensed, it was you had a lot of, listen, I've seen a lot of fights where I was from, growing up, but I also saw a lot of fights in Providence. Providence, Rhode Island, there was a lot going on. College town, really. You have a couple colleges there. Great city. So I don't want to paint this to be bad. Rhode Island's got awesome art, or Rhode Island's got just sick, cool, super cool culture. But anybody who's been to Rhode Island, Providence, knows what it is. And it's like, okay, you know what? You just, you just make sure, you're walking with your friends, or you got, you just start to, get that vibe. And I think that's where I come from, the New York City area. It's sort of going on there. It's sort of going on in a lot of areas. So
I feel you, brother. I mean, when I was learning, and going in, there's a target on your back, especially when they know, okay, this guy's coming in confident. This guy he's coming in as a line cook, but he talks and he thinks like a chef. And right away, like you said, there's some people that are ready to scrap at any given moment of any given day,
Yes.
And I learned that the hard way.
From all parts of the world, no doubt about it. And
Absolutely.
just from the States, you can have people from all over the States, whether
and
it's
the kitchens too is dog eat dog. I mean, it really is
suburban,
like
rural, urban, all of it's going to have people that are going to be hungry, people that want to do it.
Exactly, brother. And I think that's what's so wonderful now. It's like, I don't have to worry about that, because I want my predecessors, my sons, to be better than me. I want you to learn more than me, and I want you to learn what I do and develop a palate for yourself. My son Adam, he's incredible. He's 25. He's one of the best chefs I know at cooking fish. Better than anybody I know, because I've never gone to any restaurant and had a piece of fish that wasn't overcooked or
like salmon, like a good salmon.
Not just salmon, brother, but how to properly brown scallops, and how to know when. And those kinds of things, those are not things that a lot of even to go to you go to a prestigious culinary school like Johnson and Wells. Half of what you're learning is cooking. The other half is learning, the hospitality side of the industry. How to do raw yielding and knowing how to, where your food cost comes from, and making purveyors and all this good stuff. And it is awesome. But at the same time, I think where you get lost in especially in a career of culinary arts is, everybody wants to copy the next guy. I am making my food to where it can't be copied. The only one who can cook it is me and my boys, and it has been phenomenal, because
that's special, brother.
This
that's
guy
special.
Does things with
the Hernandez boys.
That's it. Nobody does what they're doing with food.
I dig
and
it.
honestly, brother, I
dig that, brother.
It's grace. It truly is. It's a blessing that I pray for every day. I try to go to mass daily when I can, and I always thank God for the talent He's given me, and I always tell Him, help me, Lord, not to be envious or angry, especially towards you when you decide it's time to take this talent away. And I've been very blessed to cook for lots of wonderful people. I've got to go and do the Hollywood scene and doing the craft, for music videos and movies, What a lot of people don't understand, brothers, there's a lot of movies being made in Hollywood. Every month there's about between 2,000 to 10,000 movies made in Hollywood, and only 3 or 4 of them get advertised to go see in theaters.
Yeah.
So you got to do a shout out to the people too, because these are still, though low
Big
budget.
Shout out to
low
everybody
budget
acting.
means
Everybody in the movie business.
$2 and $10 million to make a movie. It's not like Avengers, you had a $150 million budget, but man, it's still pretty darn incredible. And I've got to meet some really great people, got to cook for some really awesome people. But every time I say it to myself every day, that true humility is not walking around with your head down. On the contrary, it's walking around with your head up and realizing and being damn proud of who God made. Because a lot of people don't want that attitude. But I tell them every single day, when you start thinking that way, you're going to just see your life is going to get better in so many ways. And your technique is going to get better. Your palate is going to get more refined. With all this crazy COVID stuff going on, I had to change the infrastructure of recipes. Like, wait a minute, before I could taste stuff, okay, it needs this and this. Well, if you lose your taste buds, you got to know what still goes in there by what you wrote down. And I mean, honestly, brother, every single day it's a roller coaster. that I never want to get off of. I've been blessed. I have a beautiful family. I have an amazing career, and it just seems like it's just getting better and better and better.
And brother, you're just getting started.
Oh
You're just
yeah.
getting started, my
I don't
boy.
believe in retirement,
that
man.
was
I'm gonna
just
die
starting
in the
the
kitchen.
engine. You're just starting the engine. Now think about it at our age. Now that we got that knowledge, and we say if we knew then what we know now, well, we know that now, but we're still young. And I gotta say, we're not looking what I thought I'd be looking like in my mid-40s, man. So hey,
I'm
you know,
37, so you know
hey,
what?
listen, you know it.
I feel great, man.
Brother, you're looking great.
Thank
and
you.
You're feeling great.
Likewise.
You got the right perspective, my man. And listen, I'm mindful of the time. So what I'm going to do is this. I want to ask you 5 minutes, talk about hip hop for me for a moment.
Oh,
Then
I
I
love
want to
hip-hop.
then I have several questions which I ask every guest, and we'll finalize with those 3 questions. Okay, brother, so about 15 more minutes. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Subjective Perspective Show, episode 157 here on Be Awoke Entertainment. And we have Chef Albert J. Hernandez with us, an incredible fella from my neighborhood out here in the Central Valley. And, you want to get in touch with him. You want to have him cook for you. You want to know what he's doing. So we're going to get into where you can reach him in about 15 minutes. But, brother, I know hip hop was an integral part of your life. You mentioned myself also in a lot of ways.
I see the shirt, man. That's
Hey
dope.
now,
I'm telling you,
brother. You're just
somebody
playing
knows
too.
what they are.
I'm
They
just
know what
playing
they're doing.
around, man. Come on, hey, brother. What? Talk about hip hop. What's about it, man? What is it about that? What about it inspires you or got you going early in your life?
So I can honestly say this, man. When I was in junior high, I graduated in 03. Okay, so when I was in junior high, you kind of don't know sometimes what the hell am I doing with my life. I mean, as far as you're young, you can work and do some things, but you can't really get your first job till you're in high school.
I was teaching in Wyandanch, New York in 2003, which is the same school that Rakim went to. Hip hop. That's where Rakim.
Eric B and Rakim.
That's the Rakim and Eric B.
Don't sweat the technique.
I had 40 students bouncing their head up and down to a little boombox I had, bro, with a cassette tape, and it was like
brother.
Paid in Full, I believe it was, or one of the jams. And man, and they're telling me, yo, my mom went to school with Rakim. She said this and that. I'm like, what? So
that's too cool.
Big shout out to Wyandanch, New York. Y'all know it. Yeah. So I did not mean to cut you off, but I love what you just
all
said.
Good. No, hey, it's all good. So
I get into it.
When I got into high school, I started at Ceres High School in Ceres, California.
Hey, okay, big shout out.
Yeah, shout out to, I believe it's the Bulldogs over there. So shout out to the Bulldogs.
Love Ceres.
So some good friends of mine from elementary school, I ran back into, and they were huge in the whole hip hop scene. And it's so crazy, brother, because in high school, 1999, 2000, there's a lot of this whole ridiculous beefing between the Northerners and the Southerners, and it's easy to just say, hey, you know what, I want friends, I want to go join one of these sides, but ultimately that means I got to hate the other side, and that's never what I was about. So I got into, because of my friends, we started getting into breakdancing and just falling in love with the whole true hip hop culture. Now, I could point out the reason I am a professional chef and not a dancer. I was never good enough to be a professional dancer. And a shout out to my homeboy here in the Central Valley, B-Boy Vietnam, who's always been an inspiration to me. He was actually just here at my house 2 weeks ago.
Let's get him on.
Having dinner here in my kitchen. So it was kind of one of those really insane moments, and it's amazing that he considers me an inspiration to him, and that's just that's a beautiful story, man. It really is. But so it was easy to say that, you know, my mom worked 2 jobs, so she was constantly working or doing something, and my inspiration to stay out of trouble was breakdancing. It really, really was. You know, when you're dancing, it doesn't matter, you know, you don't think how poor am I, how am I this, how am I that, because we're just trying to inspire ourselves and trying to get better. And did a lot of really cool dancing. I never won a first place trophy. The best I won was a second place trophy. Shout out to B-Boy Ivan, B-Boy Andreas, and Hocus, who's a incredible artist out of Modesto, California. To some
big
of the most,
shout out, Hocus.
Yeah, Hocus Inc. tattoos, beautiful murals, everything. He's the man.
Hocus Inc. Go check it. You know it already.
And
that's crazy.
It's
man.
insane, brother. But yeah, but I was always
you're a B-boy, man.
I'm always I can still get down. I can still get down. Not as good as I used to, but I'll tell you right now. We still get down.
This is crazy.
And a lot of my inspiration for just my style, my culture, you know, wearing the parachute pants, you know, ready to throw down on the ground anywhere you went. So I was jumping around. I went to, after I left Ceres High, I went to Riverbank High, and I started a whole b-boy movement over there. As far as the culture went, we had a bunch of these guys, and I
I see you doing that.
I had that popularity.
Bro. I see you doing that. You got like me. You got that energy. We got the gift of gab, as they would tell me. You know, we're able to go out there. There's something in us.
That's it, brother. So
Albert,
I had
brother,
that.
You know?
I had that. I understood what it meant to be that guy on the sidelines that felt like, man, I don't want to say I hate my life, but man, I wish I was more than what I am. And I gave that opportunity, by God's grace, not me, but by God's grace, to go and find people, say, hey, you know what? We're going to be breakdancing in front of the gym today, and you guys are welcome to come check it out. Next thing I know, these guys are buying the same clothes and wearing the same hats. And you know what, brother? Nobody is ever left out to me. I'm the kind of guy that looks for the loner and inspires them to know that you're more important than you think you are. And I've always had that mentality. I don't know where, I know it comes from our Lord, but at the same time, I also know that I've never seen anybody exemplify that. I wanted to be the leader, and it inspired a lot of people. It really did. I got friends.
You were that at an early age. You had that in you at an early age.
And I wanted just to have fun, you know, and that's what we did. We would break dance in front of and we did about 30, 40 people around us, you know. I was
hip hop was the culture that you were a part of, immersed in, and it supersedes where you are within the town, the city, the state, because you know it, brother, and everybody else who knows hip hop, just like any genre, this is worldwide. So you have people from all over the world who have interpretations of it, you know, their own way of presenting hip hop, and everybody dancing, of course. We had a fella named Mike Murda on the show, and he was
I know Mike Murda.
Yeah, he was in Super Crew, and he won season 2 of America's Best Dance Crew, and so like with Super Crew. And I think I'm not sure if there's two Mike
Jabberwockies, right?
And he was, you know what, he dances with like those guys. He knows those guys.
They're all from San Diego and LA.
Yeah. Yeah, but he is from, I think I want to say like New Mexico, but then Vegas. So and he's a great dude. But we gotta listen, Albert. We're gonna have you back on, brother. And I'm just like, all right, we have about 10 more minutes before we close on out, because I'm definitely mindful. I've had you on for way long, but you see, this
has been a lot of fun.
Oh, cool, brother. And thank you so much for saying that. And just like I mentioned, in post-production, it's nice, man, because you know, you get to see all the fun commercials and all the fun stuff that we're going to do. And then the world could see. We hope you enjoyed this episode, everybody. Leave a comment on down there. And we're going to get to where you can get in touch with Chef Albert. But, you know, brother, thank you for talking a bit about hip hop. I'm going to get you back on to talk more. I'm having a great time with you, my man. All right. Respect. So we got to be doing this. We will. So last 3 questions I'm asking everybody. This is season 8 of the Subjective Perspective show, going on since 2013, August that year. First question, brother, you go any direction you want with this, and you can take one set or the other set of the question I'm about to ask. You'll see what I'm saying. What is either your favorite book and author and or favorite movie and director? And you can pick and choose anything from that.
Let's see if I can move out of the way here. You can probably see it here. So Roald Dahl, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, yeah.
One of the dishes I do in my 10-course tasting is called Pure Imagination. It's a tribute to Saint Macarius, also known as Saint Macaroon. and Willy Wonka. And I actually have a picture of him. If you look up there, he's kind of in the little frame.
Oh yeah.
That's
I'm
God
gonna try
rest
to
his soul,
find
Gene
something
Wilder.
At our wedding, Alex Polinsky, who officiated, also performed, and he did that. He did a rendition on this crazy.
That's cool. Wow.
Hey, now that dude, I did not think we'd be showing that, dude. But that came out perfect, man.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, that's real cool, man.
Wow,
yeah, Alex
that's
Polinsky's
cool.
out there playing music with Make Magic down in the LA area nowadays. So get on out there, everybody, if you're in the LA area. Apologize.
That's
I cut
too
you off.
cool. No, it's all good. Hey, that's what it's all about. Inspiring and giving credit where credit's due, and that's pretty amazing.
Charlie in the Chocolate Factory? Oh gosh,
Charlie and the
that's the
Chocolate
reason
Factory,
I was
it
like,
just
I had to show
didn't-
that.
You know, and no disrespect to Johnny Depp, but yeah, that's not what we're talking about.
This is the old school. Let's go back to
I
the
like
original.
the old school one, you know, and
I hear
you know, everybody was probably tripping on shrooms watching, you know, the Oompa Loompas, but I'll tell you right now, it's a constant inspiration to me because I had the fortune in my career early to be able to go and work as a professional confectioner up in a little chocolate factory in Three Rivers, California. That's going towards
Oh,
the
how is it?
Sequoia
I heard
Mountains.
it's gorgeous.
It
gorgeous.
was
We haven't been
beautiful
there
at
yet.
the time, you know, and I was there, you know, making old school style European
Down by Visalia.
artisanal
By
chocolates.
Visalia, down that way.
Going up north, of Visalia, past Exeter, like you're going towards the Sequoia Mountains to go see the the redwoods.
Yeah, we
So-
heard it's gorgeous. Like the river's gorgeous. There's like restaurants there, and
It's really cool. And I was going up there. I mean, I was driving every day. I can't imagine driving with these gas prices, but every day, brother,
my
from
gosh.
Visalia to
we'll talk
Three
about
Rivers.
that next episode.
So every day
goodness
from
gracious.
Visalia to Three Rivers, and we were going up there. I was going up there and, you know, banging out 8 hours a day, truffles and clusters and fudge and divinity.
Ooh.
And so when you go to a lot of these 3-star restaurants, whatever, there's usually a little tasting of confections that they give you. And I don't know why, but everybody wants to make the same damn bonbons, you know, and that's fine. With me, you're not going to get that though. With me, you're going to have different textures, different flavors. Just like I'm the first guy that likes to blindfold all my clients, my guests. I call them guests, not my clients.
This is awesome.
I like to blindfold them for the
See,
pellet
we're just
cleanser
scratching the
course.
surface. We have so much more to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about next episode, brother.
We can have a blast with it, but I can tell
I
you right
love
now
this.
that the experience, I want it to be more than just tasting good. I want you to get out of your comfort zone and have the time of your life. And that's what the Untamed Chef is. Like I said, to make history be history, but live every day untamed for God. You do that. There's no bars, man. I mean, honestly, I could do this all day with you.
I'm with you. I'm living it. I tell you, you know, we had a fella named Barry McGuire on. Barry McGuire performed a song in 1965 called Eve of Destruction. I won't do justice to it, but he goes, I don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. And he was incredible. He lives in Fresno. He's in his 80s. He's an absolutely awesome gentleman. But there's so much about him, but he was making the point, you know, that you were making just now. And, you know, I just, it's really the idea that regardless of, you know, what anybody thinks, you can walk into a room of 100 people. Not everyone's going to like you. But as long as you understand your value, as long as you understand what it is that you have to offer, that's what allows somebody to break beyond their own mental barriers and say, hey, listen, I'm not worried about what this person thinks, because I'm on a mission. I have something to accomplish. I have something in me that's saying, make this happen. You have that in you, brother.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank
And
you.
I just want to
Likewise.
say it exudes from you. And I just brought Barry in because if you check that out, you will be very happy you listen to that interview. Now, we were just doing audio interviews up until the last couple of years. Like 2015, we started with a bunch of them, but more last couple of years we've been doing more just utilizing Zoom with everything going on in the world. Obviously, Zoom became such a big thing. So listen, I'm going to go into 2 more questions because I can go. I keep going.
Hey, so
you
can
see
I.
me, man. I know, but we're good. We're good because I'm totally mindful. And this question is probably the most. Remember, I told you it's a thought sandwich. You see, we went more abstract, went to a couple cool ideas, but we started out really simply. And we're going to go back to the most simple question that I could think of. But I think it makes a connection for people in a way that goes beyond the words. Somebody that can relate in this regard may say, gosh, I'm like that person. I could do it now. It's weird how it works. It's funny if one person believes in you, how far you'll go. Imagine you have 2 people or more, a whole community of people that's going for you. Come on. You're part of that community, and we're lucky, brother. We're
Thank
lucky
you.
to have you. Hopefully those may say the same about me. But you don't got to say right now, world. Brother, final question. And then I'm going to go into one cool little quick word game. We have about 5 minutes left. What is your favorite color or colors and why?
That's a good question.
If any.
Oh, I definitely got some colors. Absolutely. I love the color. I think that question, that color has that whole question has changed as I've gotten older. My favorite color, and I have to honestly say now, is like a royal blue, because it represents to me the colors of the Immaculate Conception of the Blessed Mother, whom I have a very great devotion to. But when I was a kid, my favorite colors were green and orange, because I am a 90s guy who grew up in the Nickelodeon era. So
likewise.
You know
and I love the Blessed Mother also. I want to say,
amen, brother. Amen.
100%. I love all of that. Yes.
Amen. Amen.
I would say
orange.
I love the Blessed Mother more than Nickelodeon, if I could say that.
Yeah, likewise. Absolutely. But I'll tell you right now, green and orange. Always those colors. More orange, I guess. I love the color orange. I've always been, since I was young, a fan of just, fun horror movies. So I've always associated orange with Halloween. And it's so funny because my little 12-year-old son is the exact same way. He's got a whole room. You'd think you're in a haunted house, man.
I love
it's
it.
just
It's so
kind
cool.
of fun,
That's super fun. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's how it should be. Where kids are discovering, they're having a good time doing it. They're creative, and
Exactly.
And you all give them the space to do that. I love it, man.
Exactly.
That's right.
And you know what? He and it's cute stuff. It's so cool. But he's a huge
And when I
fan
say
of all
space,
that.
not the distance, but an area to do that, like an area like that. Not to say give your children space, like you want to know what's going on, obviously.
Express yourself, but with parental guidance. And I definitely, that's exactly what we're doing. And then, like with the whole thing with royal blue, it's just, it's a mantle of heaven to me. And I absolutely love it. And then my 2 favorite colors are when you take blue and your green and you get that nice aqua turquoise color.
Oh yeah.
I just bought a brand new pair of shoes my wife doesn't even know about yet. She saw the bill, but that's what they are. They're the Griffies from the age when I couldn't afford the shoes. And now I've been buying
things from the 90s, man. I have colognes. I have like Nautica. I got like a couple different Nauticas now they're making. I got oh gosh, man. Why am I blanking out, man? I have 2 different types of Nauticas. Echo, a Mark Echo one.
Mark Echo, out of New York, actually. Echo.
Yeah, out of Queens, New York. And big shout out there, everybody. And gosh, man, there's another one, brother. If it comes to me in the next couple minutes, I'll shout it out now. But I'm doing what you're saying. I'm like, Oh, this
Yeah,
is what
see
I
that.
wanted. Oh, those are tight, man.
I think
Those
Griffey,
are
to me,
fresh.
he's one of. I think they're not called freshwater. The black ones are. I'm trying to remember what these ones are the
Those are nice.
aquamarine.
Ooh,
So what's so
yeah,
cool? I love
love that
Seattle,
color.
and I've always been a huge fan of Ken Griffey Jr. I've always loved that color. And when I was young, brother, hey, can't afford that, man. So now it's like, you know what, retro. What does that just mean? That just means it costs twice as much.
Brother.
But you know what? Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I just want to say, it's the hard work you put into your life that allows you to live the fruits of your labors. And I just want to say it's an inspiration to me and hopefully to everybody watching this. And hey, you heard what Chef Albert got to say, and we got several more minutes. And I'm going to close out right here. Brother, thank you.
Absolutely, brother. If I could just point one last thing out. I tell people all the time this right here. There's this whole saying, you work hard, you play hard. I understand that. But I tell everyone all the time, you work hard so you can play hard, but you have to pray harder. And if you do that, sky's the limit. Put God first and everything else will fall the way he wants it to.
God bless
You'll never
you,
be disappointed.
You know the truth. You know what it is. Listen, I want you to know, any one of you, whatever your religious background is, whatever your spiritual belief is, that's your truth. And I want you to realize nobody has the right to ever take that away from you and to say you're wrong. So that's why, you hear Chef Albert expressing himself. And we've had so many people on the show who have so many different backgrounds, obviously. So that's why I make the point, I understand what it is when an individual like myself knows and feels and senses what it is to be in that spiritual, metaphysical thought process and to say to ourselves, hey, there's something more than just perhaps myself here. And let me now delve into this thought process. So whatever it is that you delve into out there, this message that you're hearing from Chef Albert, you can apply to your life. It's the message of hard work. And as Chef Albert makes the point of, what he surrounds his life with, this is what's brought him great success. So by implementing, what it is that he's doing, perhaps, and I'm not saying you have to, I'm saying, we all take ideas in our life and we emulate them, or we, work to, see if we can manifest that in our reality. This is somebody who's doing all the right things. And brother, it's an honor to have you here.
It's an honor to be here.
2.5 minutes. Final question. Word association game. We have 2.5 minutes. I'm going to throw 4 words out to you. You just tell me the first word that comes to mind.
Oh boy. Okay, let's do it.
Don't worry, it's not too crazy though. As I mentioned to you, I'm super respectful. It's a goodie.
Oh no,
I love this. 2.5 minutes before we close on out here, so I gotta be mindful of my time. Truth.
Catholicism.
Food.
Untamed.
Home.
Family.
Family.
Love.
We love you here, brother. Where can everybody find you? Please, we have 2 minutes.
www.ajhtheuntamedchef.com. From there, you can get links to follow me on my Facebook, Instagram, Agnet West Radio. There's also links on there to, there's actually a whole page where you can watch the videos that we've shot with the Foodie TV network. I'm trying to be better at plugging in more recipes. We're doing a lot of recipes on Agnet West Radio. That's all done within 3 to 3.5 minutes. So that's been kind of where all that time has been going, but other than that, I do have to do some updates on my website, some things there, but I always want everyone to just feel inspired. If you ever want to drop me a line, you can email me directly from my website. I get all my emails quick. And if you ever have any questions at all, you want me to cook for you, that's where it all happens at right there. I've been very, very blessed. And the very last thing that I want to plug, brother, and I can't stress this enough, is this thing has changed my life. I love my rosary. It's my weapon of choice to live a great life and to not worry about anything. There's so much bad stuff happening in the world, and my heart goes out to all these, especially the families, everything that happened in Texas. But I want to tell you right now that God wants to make you a saint right where you're at. You just have to let him try.
God bless you, your family. We love you all here at the Subjective Perspective Show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chef Albert J. Hernandez, episode 157 of the Subjective Perspective Show on the Be Awoke Entertainment Network. Brother, we will talk soon. I will message you once this is all ready, and you will all be watching this at that time. We'll catch you all soon enough. And we hope we go into your weekend a bit more thoughtful with Chef Albert and the Subjective Perspective. Peace and love, everybody.
Later, everybody. God bless.
One, you already know this. Thank you, my brother.
Welcome to the Subjective Perspective Show. Season 8 is here for more, giving you what you've been waiting for. Season 8.